Welcome back everybody. So in today's video we will be going through the process of connecting Google Cloud Platform account to Visual Studio Code. And once we have this connection established, we'll go ahead and use Visual Studio Code to develop our cloud applications. And in particular, one of the use cases I have for you in this video is deploying a cloud function from Visual Studio Code. And this cloud function will be getting triggered by a file drop to Google Cloud Storage, and this file in Google Cloud Storage will eventually end up getting loaded to a BigQuery table. And we will be doing this incrementally, so every time we load the file to Google Cloud Storage, this file will trigger the cloud function, and eventually we will append this file to a BigQuery table. All right, so let's get to it. If you are a data engineer working with Google Cloud Platform, chances are that you may be creating your applications and doing your developments within the cloud environment. And with this, you might have run into a few pain points. What if I told you that you can actually connect your GCP account to Visual Studio Code and some of your other favorite local IDEs, do your developments locally, and deploy your applications to your cloud environment? If that's something that interests you, stay around in this video and I will be walking you through how you can actually achieve that. So let's get to it. Like I mentioned in the intro of this video, I will be showing you how you can connect your GCP account to your Visual Studio Code, do your developments locally, and then deploy these applications to your Google Cloud account. And again, in this video, we will be creating a cloud function in Visual Studio Code. We will go ahead and deploy this cloud function to our GCP account, and this cloud function will be getting triggered by a file drop to a Google Cloud Storage bucket, and then this file will eventually end up getting loaded to a BigQuery table, and we will be doing this incrementally. Alright, so let's get to it. So the first thing that you need to do is to connect your GCP account to Visual Studio Code. And to do that, you definitely do need to have Visual Studio Code downloaded. And if you don't have it, you can just go to Visual Studio Code download, and this will download Visual Studio Code to your operating system. So I am running on Mac, so I already downloaded this for Mac. And if you want a video on how to do that, I did a video previously where I went through the process of downloading Visual Studio Code. The process though should be very straightforward. Okay, so go ahead and download Visual Studio Code. Once you have Visual Studio Code downloaded, then the next thing that will do is go ahead and create our configuration to connect to our GCP account. Of course, you do need to have the GCP account created, and if you don't have one, just go ahead to GCP console, and you should be able to sign in with your Gmail. I'm logged in, but you can log in with your Google account Gmail. You will get, I believe, 1 year or up to 1 year of free credit. So if you're new, you definitely can get the free credit, and you will go ahead and try it with it. So I already exhausted that, but the cost of using the cloud services is not expensive, especially if you shut them down after you use them. Okay, so you go ahead and do that, and then once you do that, the next thing that we'll do now is open your Visual Studio Code. And again, in this video we will be connecting Visual Studio Code to our GCP account. So open your Visual Studio Code, and I will maximize this. And then if you go to extensions, okay, so you will see this extension icon in your Visual Studio Code. Just click this. The extension or plugin that we want to install so that we are able to connect to our GCP is called Cloud Code. Okay, so just search Cloud Code in your extensions, and the one that you will see is this one here, right here, for Gemini Code Assist and Google Cloud Code. Okay, so Gemini Code Assist is the AI that Google has created and released, so they have integrated it together with Cloud Code. Previously, this used not to be there; it used just to be Cloud Code, but now they have integrated with the AI. Okay, So we go ahead and install this. So just go ahead and hit install, and this will install your cloud code. So cloud code is really nothing but a plugin that lets you connect to your cloud account, and with this you should be able to deploy cloud services like APIs. You can deploy Google Cloud Build. You can interact with Secret Manager. You can interact with Google Cloud Functions and deploy them locally. So that's what we'll be doing in this video. And also, if you're working with containers, you can deploy and create your Kubernetes clusters and interact with it using this plugin. Of course, still working with Visual Studio Code. Okay, so you can do the same. You can see here, you can also interact with Cloud Run. So you can do your Cloud Run development with Visual Studio Code and deploy it. All right, so these are some of the few benefits that come with Cloud Code. Okay, so if you're working with APIs, also you can see here, you can develop your APIs locally with RPG and deploy them as well. All right, so once you have it installed, we'll go ahead now and I'm going to just get out of here. And when you see, you can see actually that we do have now this icon here for cloud code. So this is how it looks like, cloud code. Okay, so just go ahead and hit this, and now you should be able to see some of the services that you can interact with. So you can see here, you can interact with Kubernetes. You can do developments on Cloud Run, Cloud APIs, Secret Manager, Compute Engine, RPG, Cloud Functions. So in this video, we will be creating Cloud Function and deploy it to our Google Cloud account. Okay. So from here, you can see now that we don't, we are not logged in. Okay. So you see down here, you see a button here saying that this cloud code is not signed in. And now to connect to our GCP account, all we have to do is just hit here where it says sign in, and we'll go ahead and hit that. It's going to ask you to open external website. We will go ahead and do that, and this will basically bring you to your email. So if you're logged in, it will bring you here. If you're not, just go ahead and log into your Gmail. We will click this Gmail, and we will basically go ahead and sign in. Okay, so now this will sign us to our GCP account and authorize cloud code for Visual Code or for Visual Studio Code to connect to our GCP account. All right, so it says here that we are now authorized to access our GCP account. So now if we go back to our Visual Studio Code, you can see now that we are able to see our project. So this has changed now, and we are able to access our GCP project. So if you click this, you can now see that you can go ahead and create applications from your Visual Studio Code. And some of the options that we see here, we see run Kubernetes, deploy on Kubernetes, run on Cloud Run emulator, and all of this. Okay. And if you go to the services here on Cloud Code, you see that you can add a cluster to your kube config. All right, so you can add a cluster. You can deploy and run Cloud Run functions. So if there's already Cloud Run functions that you've run before, you'll see them here. So you see, for me, I have one here. For any APIs, you can see them here, and you can go ahead and enable them, I believe, from here as well. Secret Manager, if you have any secrets in your manager, you will see them here as well. Compute Engine, if you have any Compute Engine running in your account, you will see it here as well, and you can go ahead and create it from here as well, I believe, using a G-Cloud, of course. You see RPG, and for this video, we will be interacting with Cloud Functions. All right, so we can see here that we have one Cloud Run function, or a Cloud Functions, really. So now you can actually say that you have successfully connected to your GCP. Now, one other thing actually that we need in this video is gcloud or SDK account. SDK development kit installed into our local environment. And the reason we need that is because we want to have gcloud installed, and we will be using gcloud to deploy the code that we will be creating in this video. So gcloud also is the SDK that Google provides. So if you go to gcloud SDK, okay, so you can install gcloud, and gcloud also lets you interact with your services in GCP. Okay, so if you don't have gcloud installed, I did a video previously where I actually went through the process of installing gcloud, and I will put the video in the descriptions. I mean, I will put the link for that video in the description for this video. So I did 2 videos. I made one for installing it in Windows, and another one for Mac environment. So if you're using either of those operating systems, I will put the links for those videos in the description so that you can go ahead and install them. So we do need gcloud installed in our environment. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. Now the next thing that we'll do from here is basically go ahead and create our cloud function. Okay, so if you go to your cloud function section here now, you can see that we have a cloud function already running, and if we switch to our a cloud platform, you can see that we have one cloud run function running here. And if you want to know how to do that, you just go to your products here, or if you can just basically search here cloud run, and it has been renamed actually recently to cloud run function, but you might still be able to see actually cloud functions. If you type cloud functions, I don't know if it's still there. Yeah, you can see here cloud functions, and you can still open this, but I believe they might eventually deprecate this. So now it's been named to cloud run function. So just go ahead and open this, and you will see that we have one cloud run function running now. So I created this previously, but for this video we will actually create a cloud run function locally in our GCP, and we will go ahead and deploy it. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go and hit here where it says create a function, and I will be creating a Python function. So I'll just hit this one for the template, Python hello world, and I'm going to save it in a folder in my local Explorer here, and I will name this one here load GCS to PQ, like that. So we'll be loading a GCS file to pQuery, okay, and we'll go ahead and create the application. All right, so this will go ahead and create application, and it will switch us to a new window here. And as you can see, if you just switch between these 2 tabs right here, you will see that we have now this function created, and here you will see 2 things. So you will see here launch JSON here, and actually we will rename this here. So for this one, for the function name, I will name this one load. I'm just going to name it the same as my function here. So we named it load GCS to PQ, like so. And for this one here, the entry point, you will see the same actually. It will be the same as this one here. So we do need to also put that here as well, but for this I'm going to bring the code for that. So I believe I have it here so that you don't have to watch me type. So I'm just going to bring that code here, and I will walk you through what it's doing. Okay, so I have named this, actually we will name this one load GCS to PQ, like so. That will be the name of the function here. And remember again, cloud run functions are event driven. So you you get an event that will trigger your Cloud Run function, and it will do something, and then that's how it works. So in this case, we will have this Cloud Run function get triggered by a change in cloud storage bucket. So whenever we drop a file in cloud storage bucket, this function will run and do whatever transformations we have specified here. So before I walk you through what this code is doing, let's go ahead and modify this launch JSON here. We will name the entry point. We'll change the entry point to this one here, right here. This launch JSON basically lets you, if you wanted to test your code locally before you deploy it, this configuration will let you do that. Okay, so that's the only change I need to make here. But in this video, I will not be testing it locally. We'll just go ahead and deploy it. And then we'll go now to our main file here. We are using BigQuery as well as Google Cloud Storage, so we need to also add those ones in our requirements file. So I'm also going to do that. I will just copy those right here, and we will put it right here like so. Okay, so we'll be interacting. So we just need to import our Cloud BigQuery as well as cloud storage so that our code can interact with these services. Okay, we'll save it. We'll go back to our main code here now, and then I'll walk you through what this code is doing. Okay, so basically we are now creating our function here, and this will be getting triggered by a cloud event, and this cloud event will be a file that will be getting dropped to a GCS bucket. We will specify here the bucket name as well as the file name, and that will be getting this information from the cloud event. Okay, because it will be triggered by the bucket. So that information will be getting from the event that's coming in. We will print the name of the bucket as well as the name of the file, and then this one here is our BigQuery configurations as well as a project. So I'm just going to put this one up here in case we have another function that will be using these configurations. So our project ID will be this one here, data engineering, and you can get that from here. Of course, you can just go here and copy it, your project, and the dataset ID that we'll be using in BigQuery is CK data tech, and the table that we'll create is called orders. So if we go to our BigQuery now, and you can see that this is our project in BigQuery. We will go, I've created this dataset for CK data tech here, and that is the dataset we'll be loading our data to. We don't have any table currently in this dataset. So we will be creating it and loading that data once we drop it to GCS. Okay, so Cloud Function will be doing that for us. If you don't have a dataset created, go ahead and just create it here. So if you hit here, create dataset, you put the dataset here. It's kind of like a schema in BigQuery, and then you can choose the region if you want, or you can just leave it as multi-region, the way I've done it here, and go ahead and create it. Okay, so that will create the dataset for you. All right, so we have our information for BigQuery now available, and we have specified them right here. Okay, and then down here we are basically creating our BigQuery client here, and this is the URI. So basically this is where the file is coming from, and this is an API configuration. So this BigQuery load job config, this is basically an API to interact with BigQuery. So you can, if you want, you can actually search that. If you just go here, it's an API configuration, so you will get all of that in this configuration file here. So I just basically use that API in my code here, and so we are basically specifying the format of the file. It will be a CSV file. We want to skip the header or the leading rows. This will be the headers. We want to skip it. We will do auto detect, but if you wanted to create your schemas, you can also create them here. For create disposition, if this table is not available, we'll go ahead and create it, and that's what we'll be doing because this table is not in BigQuery currently. When we run this code, this table will be automatically created. And then we will be, for the right disposition, we will be doing write append. So basically this means that every time we ingest a new file, we are going to append to the table in BigQuery. We will not truncate it or we will not drop it. We will basically append the file, the data to that table. And this will be for incremental data load. So if you have an incremental requirement where you're getting just incremental changes or CDC changes from your source, so this is probably what you need. So you just want to append to your table in BigQuery. So that's what we'll be doing in this video. And the last part here is basically loading that file. Okay, so we'll be just loading the file from GCS. Okay, so we get our URI. So this is a location in GCS, and then we'll be loading it to our table. And here we are taking the table ID that we specified here. Okay, so we are taking the project, the data set. So this will be our data set right here, and the table ID will be orders. So the table that will be created in BigQuery will be called orders, and the job config we are basically getting from here. Okay, how it will be created. All right, so this is just a try catch block in case there are any errors. So if everything is okay, we will successfully get this message in our logs, and if there is any error, it will be printed here with the error. All right, so this is what the code is doing. So we will now go ahead and save this. So I don't think I'm using this one here, like that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save this file. So we now have our requirements, we have our code, and now I think we are ready to launch to deploy this file here. Okay, so now to deploy this file here, there are two ways of doing it. You can go ahead and deploy it directly from right here. Okay, so you can see that that file actually has been detected. You can go ahead and hit here where it says deploy. But I was playing with this, and for some reason I'm not able to get the trigger to work. So the file trigger for GCS, I was not able to get it to work, and I'm still working through it. Once I get it to work, I will actually show you this option, but I just wanted to show you that you can just go ahead and deploy this. So for me, if I deploy this code here the way it is, when it gets to GCS, the trigger is still HTTP, but I want to have the trigger to come through GCS. So this is not going to work. If you try it, probably you might run into the same issue. And what I'm talking about is when you deploy it, we want to see something like this in our cloud function right here. So the packet should be listed here. But if you go ahead and deploy it directly like this, at least for me, the way it's currently working is this one is still listing as HTTP. So I'm still trying to dig around to see how I can get around that. So if you do know how to do that, let me know in the comment section how you're able to make that one work. Okay, so I am not able to currently get that one working. So what I will do is I will actually deploy this through the terminal, and we will go ahead and open a new terminal here, and we are currently just go to, if you see, print your location, it will actually open your working directory. So we are inside our GCP folder, and this will be our name of our function, and inside here is our code. So this is where you want to be before you deploy. All right, and now to deploy, we will just run this code right here. So I'm going to also enlarge this, and so this one is cloud, gcloud. Let me actually make this one. How do I increase this one? Like so. Okay, so we are I hope you're able to see this. So we are just basically using gcloud to deploy our function, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I said that you do need gcloud installed. So if you don't have the SDK, cloud SDK installed, or gcloud CLI installed, yeah, you go ahead and install it, because you do need it in case you want to use gcloud. All right, so I do have it installed in my environment, and I can just show you here. If let's clear this. If I type here in my terminal gcloud fashion, you will see that I have gcloud installed. All right, so I did a video where I went through the process of doing this, and again I will put the link in the description. All right, so you do need gcloud, and now we will go ahead and specify. So we called our function, this one here, right here, load to GCS. So I'm just going to copy this, and we need this in our deployment code right here, or deployment command. So we are deploying this function, so I'm just going to replace this with the name of the function that we're deploying. Okay, so we are deploying load GCS to PQ. The runtime here, I will put 312, and then the trigger resource here, this is where you put the name of your packet right here, your GCS packet. So for me, I've just put that one right there. If I go here, I have a number of packets here. Again, the one that I'm using is this one for CK data deck. I don't have any file here, and this is what I am putting as the trigger resource for this one here. Okay, and then the trigger event here is a cloud storage finalize, and the entry point again will be our name of our function right here, like so. Okay, so that will be the entry point, and I will basically copy this, and we will go ahead and paste it in our terminal. Again, there might be additional options that you can add here. So for me, I'm just going to use these ones that are available here. So I'm going to copy this, and I will paste it. Actually, I'll go to VS Code, and we will paste it right here. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this. Okay, let's see if we have here. Sorry, what did we have here? Yep, like so. Okay, and I will clear this one here, and let me see if I can enlarge this also. No, it's too zoomed in. Okay, we'll do it like this, and then I will just copy and paste it right here. Okay, so this is that function, gcloud functions deploy. We specify the name of the function that we are deploying, which is this one right here. The runtime is 312, the resource is CK data deck, and the trigger event is this one right here. And then we'll just go ahead and hit return on this, and you can monitor your progress from here now. Okay, so you can see that it is deploying now our cloud function, and it might take up to 2 minutes. So while this one is running, you can actually go to your dashboard, your Cloud Run dashboard, refresh it, and we should be able to see our function deploying here. There we go. Right, so once you refresh your dashboard, you will see now that this is the code that is deploying from our Visual Studio Code. And as you can see, the trigger here is now reflecting correctly that this is the packet that will be triggering this cloud function. This is first gen, and I think this is something that you can actually change in your code if you want to use the second generation. Okay, so I believe that's something you can also specify in your configuration or during deployment to use which generation you want to deploy. All right, so you can see now that it deployed successfully. So if you click into it, you can see your code. So this is our code as it is looking in our Visual Studio Code. So we do have our variables here. This is what our function is doing, pretty much the same as what we have in our Visual Studio. Okay, and this is our requirements. This is that configuration for Visual Studio Code. So everything has now been deployed successfully. And if you go to the logs, you can also see the same thing. All right, now if we go to BigQuery, again, there should not be anything here yet. Okay, because we haven't dropped a file to our GCS bucket. And so now that is what we are going to do next. So we'll go ahead now and drop a file here in this folder in GCS, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so automatically our cloud function should be triggered if we drop a file right here. So we'll go ahead and do that. And for that, I have a file here for orders, and I basically just created this using fake library of Python, and I modified it to look like this. So this is our first set of data that we'll be uploading, and we'll add another file for incremental to see how it looks like. Okay, so again, this is how our first batch of file will be looking like. So we have right here our, let me just actually zoom this in like so. Okay, so we have order ID, custom ID, order date, status, product ID, quantity, price, total amount, and we have around 13 records for this. So we will be going ahead and uploading this file to GCS, and what we expect to happen is that once we drop this file to GCS, Cloud Run function will run that code, and it will notice that there's a file that's been dropped in GCS. It will go ahead and run this code right here. Okay, it will run this code right here, where it is basically getting this file from GCS and dropping it to BigQuery, and it will be skipping the first row and also auto detecting it. So in other words, it's basically using the first line here to be our fields in BigQuery, and then it will create this table if it does not exist. And then additionally, now in the next iteration of run, when we drop another file, it's going to again scan through the additional file and then append it to the already created table. So we have said here, if the table is not there, create it. If it's there, just ignore it. Okay, so that's what it's doing. So let's go ahead and now drop this file to GCS. Okay, so I have saved it as orders. Okay, and then we'll go ahead with orders 2 and orders 3. So we'll go ahead and add this file, and I have it saved in my local machine, so we'll just go ahead and drop it. So we have added it now, and if we switch over to our cloud function here, we should be able to see now down here. Okay, so it started right here, function execution started, and it's processing this file here. Okay, so you can see now it's processing orders.csv, and that is what we mentioned here, processing file JCS, packet name, and the file name. Okay, so that is what's happening right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and refresh it. Okay, so it is refreshed here, and I don't know if, let's expand this. Okay, so it's refreshed here, and I'm not sure if it went ahead and loaded this file to BigQuery. I think it has. Okay, let's see right now. So there's additional logs now coming in here, so it might take a few minutes to update, but as you can see here, we have now a successfully loaded file into ckdatatech.orders, and that is this part of the code right here, successfully loaded file into the dataset and the table ID. Okay, so that means that our table now in BigQuery should be created, at least looking at our logs. So now let's switch over to BigQuery and see if that's happened. Okay, so we can now go to our dataset and refresh it, and there we go. As you can see, now we have a table created. Let's see if it was created as we intended. There we go. Okay, so it detected the fields in that file, put them here as the field names, order ID, custom ID, put the types, and let's see the data now. We have 13 rows, so that's looking good. And if we look at our file, there we go. All right, so you can see now that we have our order ID and the rest of the data. Okay, and if we go ahead and run this order by order ID, okay, so we should be able to see the same data that we have in our file. All right, so there you go. Okay, so you can see now that for example, for order ID number 1, the total amount is 1848. So let's see if that's what we see in our file here. Orders, this is the first one we loaded, 1848. Order number 13, 78032. All right. So we can now successfully say that, or we can confidently say that our file has been successfully loaded to pQuery. And this one, the only thing we did was to add the file to this location, and Cloud Run did the rest of the work for us. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and delete this, and we'll drop another file. Okay, so we have the second file here, orders 2, and I will just zoom this one out. And this one is starting from order number 14 to order number 24. So we will go ahead and drop this file to the same bucket, and we will see what happens. Okay, so again, our pQuery now has 13 records. What we expect to see to happen is that from number 14 going all the way to 24, this data will be appended to that table. Okay, so let's upload that file now, orders 2 here. Okay, so it has been uploaded, and our function now should have also noticed it, and it should not take long. It's almost immediately. So we'll just refresh, and we will see if we are able to see the logs for those ones coming in. Okay, so we can see, there we go. Function execution started. We have orders 2 coming in, and it has completed executing successfully, and we have our data loaded again to our table in pQuery. So this second run now, the table will not be created because it's already created in the first run. So the data now will just be appended. Okay, so if we go ahead now and run our query here, we should be able to see additional records up to 24. There we go. So we have 24 records now, and from number 14 is what was added. Okay, and as you can see, ID number 14 here, ID number 24, we should have 4592, like it's showing right here. Okay, so that is you can keep doing that over and over. We have the third file there. I'm not going to load that. It should just do the same thing. Okay, so that is what I just wanted to show you quickly, that you can actually use, you can do that using Cloud Run functions, and in this video we did that locally. So you can do the same thing. You can just go ahead and create the function in the browser. If you just go ahead here, you could have done the same thing, right? You could have done, where do we refresh it? Right here. So you could have done the same thing here. You could just have gone to create a function here, and specify the trigger here, cloud storage, put the name of the packet, and copy your code. But now with Visual Studio Code, it gives you the autonomy, because if you have been working with Visual Studio Code for a long time, then it makes it much easier for you as a developer to create your code locally and upload it. So you can again do all of your developments locally if you install this plugin. All right, so just quickly a recap of this. We went through the process of connecting our account to GCP using Cloud Code, and then we were able to establish the connections, and then from there created our function. And then our function, we saw what it was doing. It was basically getting triggered by a cloud drop, or basically a cloud storage file drop. So whenever we drop a file to Google Cloud Storage, our code will be triggered, and it will do what we have specified in the transformations of the code. So in this case, it was getting loaded to Google BigQuery. So if you have a process like that, you can actually automate the entire process and make it event driven. So say you have a process that depends on a file getting loaded to GCS daily or hourly. You can create something like this, where a file, once it's available in GCS bucket, you pick that file and you do something with it. So you can do something like what we've done here, or you can send it out. So if the file is already transformed and you want to send it through through SFTP to someone else, or load it to a database, you can do all of that with the help of Cloud Functions. All right, and again, you can do all of this the same. You can do all of your development locally, deploy it, and your code will be working the same way as if you're working in cloud. All right, so you can actually do your orchestration end to end now, running locally, deploying it, and your life doing your development in Google Cloud Platform will be painless. All right, so again, I hope you found this video helpful, guys. And if you're looking at for something like this, I hope I made it easier for you to use Visual Studio Code with Google Cloud Platform. Alright guys, that's all I had for you in this video. I will see you in the next video. Alright, bye bye.